Now, as businesses close for the day in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, and workers begin the journey back to their homes, a dangerous practice is drawing growing concern from road safety authorities as many workers patronize open-air vehicles. Individuals have been seen jumping onto open pickup vehicles for cheap transportation, an act officials say puts both passengers and drivers at serious risk. Joining us now is the security analyst, Jonathan Onoja, who will help us examine the dangers of commuters riding in open pickup vehicles in Abuja, the security risks involved, and what authorities and road users can do to stay safe. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
Yeah, you're welcome. So from a security standpoint, what risks do passengers face when riding in open-air vehicles? Would you even blame them for having to opt for that rather than going for regulated public transport?
Well, yes, I think one way I have to blame them, because first thing is safety, and exposing themselves intentionally to some of this risk is where I think the blame comes in. On the other hand, too, I think it's by the issue of choice. Unfortunately, there is no stricter penalties for this kind of transportation in the Federal Capital Territory, as we have seen, especially in the Nyanya, Maraba Aziz, the Area 1, Wuse, and all the Aziz, even those coming from the Kubwa Aziz as well. This is becoming more of a way of life, a way of transportation, even during the rainy season. And so the issues of blame here is to even the government for not bringing stricter penalties to those that opted for this means of transportation, because it exposes them to risk, hard risk, and even not just to them, but to other road users. We have seen and heard about incidents of someone falling off from the van because it's an open van. There's no carrier, there's no support system, and so when there's an even accident, they are prone to more risk. But why I mentioned earlier that it is by issues of risk is because most times when you go to where these vehicles even convert them from, we hear situations of those are going to expose themselves, pay lesser amount for exposing themselves. And those are going to be inside the vehicles, protected a bit, will pay higher amount. So while they're even exposing themselves, it does not even stop them from paying. They are still paying, just that they have to pay lesser amount for exposing themselves to more danger. So if we have, law enforcement agencies that clamp down on most of these characters, most of these practices that is even happening within the Federal Capital Territory and in some states, I think it will reduce the excesses of what we have seen. Because for me, I do not see any amount, depending on how lesser it is, one will have to go and expose his or her life to danger. Should there be any strike, they have the direct impact. And most times, like we have witnessed as well, there are times even when these vehicles resume off while they are even yet to on board. And this is the risk that we talked about. So we must find an alternative to solve these problems.
All right, Jonathan, let's look at it from this way. Now, Abuja is the capital city of Nigeria, sovereign nation. It is technically the seat of power. And we still record cases of robbery, abduction, violent attacks, assaults on commuters, in this case, while in transit. One would have thought that Abuja would be the safest place in Nigeria.
Yes, Abuja is the seat of power. Unexpectedly, every Nigerian believes that the security of the Federal Capital Territory is a top notch. It's something that they expected that there shouldn't be even any news of of abduction. But I have to take you back a bit. Yes, government is continuity, but if you look at the current formations of the security operations within the Federal Capital Territory, you would agree with me that there's a bit of stability now. In the last administration of His Excellency, late former President Muhammadu Buhari, we are having the situations where the Abuja Kaduna Road was on a daily rise or on a daily news, was on the news daily, where issues of kidnappings, abductions was ongoing. Abuja Kaduna, we talk about the Abuja Kogi, the Okene Road. These were all dens of kidnappers. But today, we are not seeing that and we're not hearing that anymore. Even if it is happening, it's within the communities, not on the highways within the Federal Capital Territory. The same Federal Capital Territory, in the past, we had a situation where the Abuja, the Kuje prison was attacked less than 50 kilometers to the presidential villa. That we are not seeing again. And this was one of the attacks that I criticized the government so bad, that we have all the informations, we have with the headquarters of all the security agencies in the Federal Capital Territory, and all the informations are aligning themselves to Kuje prison, and we have this kind of operations less than 50 kilometers to the presidential villa. In the Federal Capital Territory, less than like 100 kilometers to the military base in Kaduna, where even the military base was invaded and even a soldier was killed. But back to the current administration of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the formations of his defense strategies under the ministers of defense and also of defense for states, His Excellency the former governor of Zamfara State, Dr. Bello Matawali. There's improvement because if you look at the formations on our roads now, you agree with me that there's reduction in abduction. The issue of terrorism have reduced drastically. There is a collaboration efforts with the our foreign counterparts. It's also yielding results. Okay. And so one would say that there's improvement on our security formations. The idea of the forest guard, presidential forest guards that was launched, and the subsequent arming of these guards and training of about 7,000 personnel, and recently now deployed to various states, it's a welcome idea. We even they go ahead for the recruitment of the additional police officers. These are all welcome ideas and targeted towards, actualizing security for the Nigerian people. Okay. However, while we continue to go these areas and this idea of kinetic approach, I've often advised that yes, as we continue to bridge the gap in terms of security, we must ensure that we secure food security, economic security, employment security, and ensure that we have a peaceful Nigeria. This is the only way we can guarantee, a peaceful Nigeria. Okay, so Jonathan, even as we wrap up on this, I don't know if you did see a story that floated yesterday about a Federal Medical Center nurse who was killed. She was first abducted and eventually killed in Abuja. I think that was day before yesterday or yesterday by one chance robbers. So I will talk about those who patronize open air vehicle drivers and those who take buses that probably might just be one chance robbery, people, in that guise. What do you think people can do to ensure their safety, and what should be the role of road safety officials and, of course, security personnel along the urban corridors to ensure safety too of commuters? I'm sorry to say that Nigerians are very stubborn, kind of people, especially creative for this country. We have, motor parks. Expectedly, we are to go into these motor parks to board vehicles. How many Nigerians go to motor parks to board vehicles? How many Nigerians have plate numbers of vehicles that they board? How many Nigerians tell their loved ones their whereabouts or their movement when they goes out and all of that? This is one of the problems that we must solve. The issue is that when you go, for instance, go to Apo Bridge under the Area 1 axis, you realize that there's no motor park. Just anybody can come in, drive in there, and then before you know, he can tell you he's going to Marabanyanya, going to Apo, and then before you know, you've bought a vehicle. No description of these individuals. People that don't even have address. So the thing is that we must force Nigerians to board vehicles from the motor parks, and we must protect these motor parks with ensuring that every vehicle that comes in there must be properly verified, and every driver that is going to be coming in with any vehicle must be properly documented and verified. Not until that, we will still have issues of one chance. People boarding vehicles from the roads without even having an idea. The worst of it is that people traveling interstate board vehicles from the road without having the details of the drivers, the details of the vehicles, and they don't even know where they are coming from. And again, we talk about the road safety. Road safety is on the road just basically are supposed to ensure the safety of road users.
Okay.
Where the vehicle is coming from point A, point B, or one chance, they wouldn't know. The issue lies with Nigerians. We must begin to carry out awareness campaigns, sensitizations, ensuring that Nigerians go to motor parks. When you come to Abuja, you go to the terminus that the FCT minister has invested so much projecting, and then the person there's another one in central area.
Jonathan.
There's another one in Secretariat. There's another one in Jai. Why are Nigerians not taking advantage of this terminals to board from them? And the government should do their best to provide motorcycles and to ensure that vehicles to ensure that Nigerians will patronize those terminals, because those terminals without vehicles is another aspect of insecurity.
Well, basically, Jonathan, it means that the safety of Nigerians is actually a collective responsibility, both from the government and, of course, the governed. But then thank you so much, Jonathan Onoja, for sharing your thoughts with us on the news.
It is my pleasure.